everybody, how you doing? My name's Dave, and if you've been filming all day and most of the film didn't work out, you can call me Daveypoo, the mobile music minstrel. How you doing? Hey, thanks for joining me. I've had quite a day. Today I'm Jakob hacking it in the mirror, and thanks for bearing with the wires on the desk and it being a little different. So get yourself a drink. I've got a somek for anybody that knows Korea. And we're going to take a look at Imaginando's LK. A lot of people have been talking about this. Imaginando was kind enough to reach out to me and say, hey, Dave, we've been watching your videos and we like your stuff. You know, would you like to try out our stuff? And I said, yes, I'd love to. So I've been playing with DRC and Forms and LK. A lot of people had mentioned this to me as an alternative for atom, piano roll, and some of the other MIDI controllers in here. And I said, well, I don't have Ableton, so I haven't used it. And they said, no, there's way more going on to it than that. So I decided that we'd kind of walk in a little cold. I've played with this a little before, but not a lot. And the reason I stopped is because I found LK to be very non-intuitive. It was very difficult for me to find my way around. And so I thought that I would do a different kind of a video and we could explore together and maybe kind of get over the hump. That's what we're doing today. All right, so before we get into it, though, I do want to mention I have launched a Bandcamp site, daveypoo.bandcamp.com. There are 9 albums that I recorded over the last 20 years or so. And they're finally all in one place, and they're all 100% free to download. So please go to daveypoo.bandcamp.com and check it out. I talk a lot about all sorts of tips and tricks and techniques in these videos, and now you can see how I apply those techniques in music that I make and see whether you think I'm successful or not. I think I've grown a lot over the last 20 years, and so everything that's up there starts from my very first demo as a singer-songwriter all the way up to stuff that I made in the last 6 months. And I've got 4 more records coming out in the next few weeks. A lot of different projects that I've been involved with over the years, and I'm trying to put everything in one place. So please go to daveypoo.bandcamp.com and check it all out. But back to Imaginando's LK. So let's fire it up here. I'm in apeMatrix hosting today. I've got an instance of DRC, and I've got an instance of Forms. DRC's got a bass patch that I created. Now, I've got things MIDI'd up here to the Arturia to play with, but we'll also be triggering stuff inside the iPad. But then we're going to go over here, and Forms has got this patch that I picked that I thought sounded good, and we're going to go with it. Okay, so what is LK? Well, it's a lot of things, and that's what's so cool about it. There's a lot of power here in this app. When you first fire it up, I didn't know what I was looking at. This is the routing page. So LK is a controller primarily, but it can control a lot of different things. It's not just a keyboard, although it does have that capability. It's not just a chord pad player, but it does have that capability. It's not just drum pads, but it does include that capability. It can be a mixer. It can be all sorts of different things. So we're going to quickly look at some of the different ways that you can control things in here. Immediately, I don't resonate with this design. I really like skeuomorphism. It appeals to me on an aesthetic level. It has no bearing on whether a product is good or not. It's just whether it looks pretty to me or not. This I find a little alienating. It's just my personal taste with it. So I immediately had a hard time figuring out what was going on just visually. Well, let's go through it here. So this is our input. Let's take here, we're going to say the input is going to be, we're going to use the keyboard. Okay, this is the on-screen keyboard here in Imaginando's LK. So you're telling the matrix, I'm going to have channel 1 be inputted by the keyboard. Okay, the output, let's see, I'm going to go over here. We've got LK is routed into DRC and Forms. Okay, I'm going to set it so that DRC is on channel 1. And I'm going to set it so that Forms is on channel 2, MIDI channel 2. Go back. It's gonna output on channel 1. So if I go to the keyboard, theoretically, if I've done things correctly, the keyboard should trigger the bass patch in DRC. Oh, it's because I don't have DRC plugged in. Okay. Wasn't the MIDI connection. It's because I'm an idiot. Lessons in life, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to drop this a little bit. I'm controlling DRC now with LK. Okay. What's cool about LK is that now with the same instance of LK, I don't need to take up another AU slot. With the same instance of LK, I can control DRC on a separate MIDI channel. So let me go back to up here, and we're going to, how do we add something? Let's see. Let's drag up here. See, this is why this was not immediately intuitive to me. This sandwich button, you pull up here, and it pulls up a sequencer, and with a full piano roll editor. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you got velocity and your MIDI, your controller information down there. Okay, so let's pause that for a second. Now, let's see. How do I add another instrument here? Double tapping it doesn't work. Let's see. I'm going to hit the up arrow here and go add track. Imaginando, if there's any feedback I can give, is to make these things a little clearer. One of the things I admire about DRC and forms is that they're fairly straightforward in how everything operates. This I found very confusing and very difficult to find my way around and figure out what I had to do. However, once I did figure it out, it was extremely powerful. So, let's go here. On channel 2, we're going to have the input be the quarter, which is this. We'll get there in a second. It's going to be outputting on channel 2, or I'm sorry, inputting on channel 2, I guess, and outputting on channel 2 also. Let's go here. Now, let's see if this controls forms. I disconnected it. Let's do this. There we go. So now I can control forms here. Okay, I'm not a touching on the screen guy. You notice I use the stylus here. I'm not a tapping on the screen kind of a person. I don't like the way it feels when my fingers hit the hard glass. That being said, this is extremely powerful. Now, let me pick something here that's maybe... Okay, that's a little better. Let's see what the... And then if I flip over to keyboard... So it's really, there's a lot that you can control with this. And if I go back to the tracks, let's see. Let's go here. Pull up from the bottom. Slot as, okay, so for that instrument, you've got to do clips. So I can go here, play the bass. Let's see, maybe if I do this. Oh, that didn't really work. Okay, because we also have an XY pad. We have, a CC controller, okay, with faders and knobs, so you could use this as a mixer. You've got pads if if you're a drum machine guy. There is a ton of power in LK. I have a really hard time with finding anything, and that immediately turns me off to digging in deeper. I don't want to have to read the manual before I start it to be able to do it. I want to be able to fire it up and just kind of poke around and be able to find out what to do. And then maybe if I get stuck, go look at the manual or go watch somebody's video. But it took me a long time of poking to figure out where everything was and how to get it to do stuff. But to its credit, as I mentioned before, once I was able to actually connect all the dots and figure out what happened and how to connect stuff up, it immediately revealed how much power was behind the curtain here. So that's my take on LK. All of these are individual purchases. The MIDI pads, the MIDI controller, the XY pad, the quarter. Okay, they're all separate purchases, so you don't need to purchase all of them if you wouldn't use all of them. So there is some benefit there. If you would only maybe use the keyboard and the quarter and the mixer, then you could, the controller section, then you could only purchase those and not use either of the rest. I believe you can still have, yeah, I mean, it's still an AUV3, so I can still have multiple instances of it, which makes it that much more powerful. Now I've got 2 keyboards or 2 quarters or 2 controllers or whatever. I mean, there's so much this thing can do. So there you go. Thanks, Imaginando. I did have a lot of fun exploring this, and once I unlocked the mystery of how to get to everything, it's amazing what it can do and how it can streamline your workflow, especially if you don't have a lot of power. If maybe you have an older device or something that you think you're going to run out of CPU if you're pushing too many AUs, well, you can use a single instance of this to control 4 or 5 different apps. And really cut down on your used AU slots and things like that. So there's a lot of power in here. There's a lot of value in LK. So thank you very much, Imaginando. Thank you guys for dealing with the weird mirror and everything. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Please go to daveypoo.bandcamp.com and get all the 9 albums that are there for free. And there'll be 4 more coming, and they'll be free too. So there's tons of music to listen to, so please go listen to it. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Instagram and on Twitter, and you can go to Patreon and support the channel if you like more. You want more of this stuff, then you can go there, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Talk to you later. Bye.